our next session is a fireside chat looking at driving strategic transformation in financial services with responsible generative AI. Here to moderate this session, please put your hands together for Zeynep Deldag, Netherlands Financial Services Consulting Leader, EY, and her panelists.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to our panel of driving strategic transformation with using responsible generative AI. And welcome, panelists. I think we're all convinced for the potential of AI. And we're super excited. But let's now move from the buzzwords and deep dive into the AI's transformative role in the digital world. Strategic business transformations, as you all know, requires the fundamental pillars to scale effectively, and that's what we will be discussing today. We all know that in 2003, the financial service organizations were quite busy in terms of identifying and prioritizing the use cases. This year, in 2024, it's all about enabling the AI capabilities, but also making sure that applications are put into production. Having said all this, let me now introduce our panelists here from different major global financial organizations to share their great stories with us and their AI journey. To start with, Raphaël Lemay, Director, AI Center of Excellence for EuroClear. Pearce, the CDO for Esure. Last but not the least, Tjerrie Smit, Chief Analytics Officer for NN Group. Welcome once again, and thank you. Raphaël, let's start with you.
Sure.
What have you done so far on AI in EuroClear in terms of the journey itself from the start to today?
Sure. So in EuroClear, we have structured our approach around 3 pillars: an AI strategy, an AI COE, and a roadmap. And one to each other is feeding and retrofeeding the other and are constantly evolving. We have started with very classical AI, natural language processing, natural language understanding project, and those projects, quite well known, have allowed us to really build further our capabilities, develop our skills, and further establish our delivery squads. That have allowed us then to move forward more complex AI projects, some financial industry specific project, optimization of our collateral, settlement efficiency, and so on. And now, of course, tackling some generative AI project.
Super. Thanks, Raphaël. Tjerrie, over to you. Would love to hear what are the 3 actions you recommend to undertake to start well in your transformative AI journey.
If I had to choose 3, I would say number 1 is focus on solving the number 1 problem of your business. With AI, you can do a lot of fancy stuff, and sometimes it's also really fun to build it, but it will not make you successful. And believe me, this is the approach that I took before. But if you focus on the number 1 problem of your business, the implementation will go much more smoothly, and people will actually use what you've built. So that would be my number 1 recommendation. And then secondly, I would say make sure that you have a AI ethical framework in place before you start actually doing AI. And this will help you in 2 ways. The first one is if you have a framework already in place, you can test new technology against that framework. Is the stuff that we're going to do within the boundaries that we think is good for the company? And so it's not only about can we do it and are we allowed to do it, but also do we want to do it? Is this something that really fits also the brand that I'm working for? And also, if you have a framework in place, it will help you when you get really excited. to check, not to shift your boundaries, because when you are excited, you tend to move what you think is good for the company. So doing that beforehand will really help you to stay within the things that are good for your company. And then third, I would say, involve everyone in the company. Technology is no longer the issue. People are. Because people, we as people, we need to learn how to work together with AI as an assistant. And that's not easy. And that's also why at NN Group we invest in an extensive data literacy program to teach everyone in our company to speak, read the language of data.
Great. Couldn't agree more. Thanks, Tjerrie. Chris, over to you. Let us know about your journey in Esure and the AI journey, please.
Yeah, I mean, we have 8 use cases scaled in production now, which we've delivered over the past 12 months, and that's to about 900 frontline agents, and those use cases are operating in real time. You know, we've been deliberately focused on service, so operations, claims, and the complaints process, because we thought that, you know, natural language LLMs are naturally suited to solving those kinds of problems. So, you know, we've got summarization capability in places like our chatbot. So, you know, that transcript data, that conversation can be passed over succinctly to agents on handover. It reduces the friction in the journey so that agents aren't asking the same questions that the chatbot has. We're summarizing end-to-end conversations and automatically storing those notes in our policy management platform, which is speeding up the time that we can handle issues and the speed with which we can move on to servicing other customers. You know, we've got knowledge retrieval use cases where agents are able to effectively click a button on their UI and get back either specific answers to questions that customers have asked them that they might not know off the top of their head, or even sort of link them to the right documentation that has those answers within. And certainly in complaints, finally, ways in which we're able to use LLMs to effectively source information from different disparate systems, bring that all together, produce a report that again summarizes the issue and then sort of serves up a templated response that our case management team can then use to engage back on that complaint and deal with that issue far more effectively and far more quickly than before.
Thanks. Thank you, Chris. Raphaël, back to you. As just also mentioned earlier, this year there has been a great shift towards the production of the AI capabilities and the use cases. Could you tell us a little bit of what it takes to turn the use case into reality, the business as usual?
Sure. So indeed, this year we have seen a shift in terms of AI capabilities, certainly an acceleration, of AI with many AI features and solutions flourishing everywhere. Now there is not a single platform that do not have AI features. That might be a great opportunity, but could be as well a plague if it's not well managed and handled. That's why more than ever, I think we need to structure the approach around a few axes: business. What is the business value? What can we deliver? People, how we upskill people, both IT and business people. Risk, compliance, and ethics, how we remain compliant with the new EU AI Act and all the regulation financial industry are, of course, bound with. And the IT part. And the IT part, both, let's say, the infrastructure and software. Not only it's necessary to make a very efficient use of AI, but it has the side effect, come, for example, if you centralize your machine learning, you reduce your carbon footprint, you have a better ESG score, you see? So all those aspects needs to be really taken into account to make sure you make a good use of all those AI features flourishing everywhere.
Thanks. Thank you, Raphaël. Tjerrie, can you also give us a little bit flavor from NN Group's journey using a use case?
Yeah, at NN, our ambition is to be an industry leader for customer service, talented people, and contribution to society. And we think that AI can really contribute to that. We started a long time ago when we called it big data, which we now call AI. And we were working really hard, but we were doing okay, we thought back then. But the really big breakthrough came with Gen AI.
Exactly.
It really helped us to put cutting-edge technology also on Dutch data sets, which before was not possible. And one of our biggest use cases that we scale to more than 1,000 call center agents is the automatic call summary. And before we had this application, when you made a phone call to NN Group, at the end of the conversation, the call center agent would make a small summary of the conversation, what has been discussed, and put it into our CRM system. On average, this would take 3.5 minutes in after call handling time. Now, with the help of Gen AI, we can do that in less than 10 seconds. Because during the conversation, we have a real-time speech-to-text transcript engine. We feed it to our summarization engine, which then automatically puts it into the CRM system in the right case. So in less than 10 seconds, the agent has the full summary at his or her disposal, taking away a lot of the administrative work, which is also not the fun part. So it saves a lot of time, but also for if you are a call center agent, you can now really focus on the conversation that you have with the customer. So that brings us great value.
Super, thanks, Tjerrie. Chris, let's look a little bit ahead and let's hear from you. What are the next steps in your organization in terms of scaling the responsible generative AI? And any lessons learned, of course, would be great to hear.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we've heard earlier today about the rise of multimodal capability, and I think inevitably for us, that is the direction of travel. You know, how can we really reinvent the customer journey? You know, if somebody's had a claim and they're contacting us, you know, they might want to write a description, they might want to provide images of damage to their vehicles. You know, how can we consume all of that different information really, really quickly? You know, and or retrieve a status report. You know, where is my claim? You know, how can we get at all of that? You know, how can we get agentic workflows in place so that we can query lots and lots of different systems that we have and bring that information together in a nice, neat, compact way, to respond instantaneously to customer needs. So definitely that's one aspect. I think the other aspect is very much around a very overused phrase, but hyper-personalization. So how can we really be targeted in our product propositions and the way in which we engage and communicate with our customers? How can we leverage generative AI to, again, make that relationship less transactional and far more meaningful, especially in the times of need when customers are going through distressing situations often. How can we make sure that we've got that tone of voice and that empathetic service on point for them?
Great. Raphaël, anything you want to share from your organization on the next steps and any lessons learned?
Sure. We want, of course, to further expand our capabilities around Gen AI because the field of the possible with that have, of course, expanded over the last couple of years, as you all have seen. And indeed, maybe one lesson learned we have started to get on those generative AI initiatives we are conducting is the adoption. Okay, we see that depending on the level, the role, and the generation of the employee using a Gen AI solution, we have different set of adoption. But even though it might seem easier on younger generation, where we get the most value is on the most senior one. Once they get onboarded, once they get the right training. So actually, it's worth the change management and to have a proper change management to onboard all the employee and specifically the most senior one to get the most value out of Gen AI initiative.
Super, thank you. Tjerrie, maybe from last words from you on the NN's ongoing, going forward journey and lessons learned?
Yeah, well, I think we are indeed on an exciting journey, and I think AI really has the potential to fundamentally change the way that we do business, not only in the financial services, but basically in any service-oriented industry. And if you look at what we are doing with claim analytics, for instance, we are automating big parts of that process with the help of multi-agent LLMs, so an agentic approach, and that works exceptionally well in a service-oriented industry. And if you look at insurance processes, it's usually about collecting information, applying a certain policy, then taking a decision. Well, this is the job that also LLM agents can do for you. And I'm not arguing that we will all lose our jobs. Not at all, I would say. But something is going to change, and the change is going to be very rapid. And we as humans, we need to learn how to do the new job, not the job that AI can do for you, because AI can do it much better, it can do it faster and much cheaper. We as people, we need to learn how to work together with AI assistants. And then we will have a fantastic future, if you ask me.
Absolutely. And I think being very comfortable with the change will help us a lot. Fully agree. Well, Tjerrie, Chris, Raphaël, thank you very much for sharing your personal journey, but also your company's AI journey, and it's of course the potential impact on your company's strategic transformation ambitions. For the audience, I would like to recap what I heard from our panelists, just maybe the key highlights, not everything of course. What I heard is the importance of having a structured AI strategy and center of excellence for AI is critical to be able to have a scalable AI journey and continuation. Secondly, the need for an AI ethical framework is critical to guide decision making. This is important and ensure that the responsible AI is in place. Thirdly, it's not about technology. We should not be scared of the technology, and the difficulty is not about the technology. It's about, the main challenge is really about people, willingness, but also learning, willingness, but also ability to learn to work with EY and the eagerness. The more we are willing, the more we want, the faster we'll go in this journey. Thanks once again. If any questions from the audience to the panelists or myself, right after this session, we will be in the EY booth for another 10 minutes. We would love to welcome you and answer to your questions. Thanks for being with us again. Have a great rest of the World Summit AI.
Thank you very much, Zeynep, and of course your panelists. That was fantastic. Thank you.